Hello, welcome to a Yin Yang Yoga practice for your shoulders. All that you'll need for this practice is a space to lay out. If you do have a blanket, a pillow, or a yoga block or two, you're going to want to grab those as well. I also encourage making your space as comfortable as possible for you. So perhaps that means closing your door or grabbing your pet. If you hear a little bell sound or a meow, that's my cat who's in the same room with me. He might come over here. You can also grab a cup of tea or light a candle. And I'm not going to include music with this video because I want you to be able to put on some gentle, soothing music in the background if you'd like. So you can pause the video right here if you need to go get anything or set anything up. This is a Yin Yang practice, which means we'll do a little bit of movement and then we'll do some longer holds as well. So modify anything as you need in your body. You don't need to have a yoga outfit. These aren't even really yoga pants. Just make sure you're not wearing a dress or jeans, anything that would be really constricting to your movement. So when you're ready, get comfortable in a cross-legged position, one ankle over the other. We're just gonna sit up nice and tall and kind of lean forward and back a couple times to make sure that you're sitting evenly on your sit bones without your pelvis tilting too much in any one direction. And throughout the practice, I recommend closing your eyes, but it's okay if you want to keep your eyes open instead. We're going to take a big breath in and reach the shoulders up towards the ears. When the exhale begins, start to round your shoulders back and then all the way down. When your next inhale starts, draw your shoulders forward first and then all the way back up to your ears. When your exhale begins, draw your shoulders back together along your spine and then down. So continue this at your own pace, which will be dictated by your breath. And I will sometimes breathe through my nose since I'm speaking to you, but see if you can just keep your lips sealed and breathe in and out through your nose only. And if you haven't yet, start to just kind of exaggerate this movement. So really only moving the shoulders if you can, but exaggerating the movement so that you're reaching as far as you can in each direction. Your shoulders might become a little bit fatigued here, and that's okay. That's a good thing. If you're not really feeling tired at all, maybe you can make these circles a little bit bigger. Let's do one more. And this time, as you exhale, keep your shoulders back and down and start to gently drop your chin towards your chest. We're going to roll the right ear over to the right shoulder here. Notice if your left shoulder kind of wants to pop up as your neck moves, and draw it down instead. And gently bring your chin back down through center, and let's bring the left ear over to the left shoulder this time. Again, if your opposite shoulder tends to pop up here, just draw it down with a little bit more effort. And very slowly start to take some half circles side to side, moving through center at your own pace. Maybe leaning back a little bit when you get your ear over to your shoulder, and just seeing how that feels for you. And if it actually feels good, perhaps you'll want to switch this into a full circle, rolling your head all the way back. However, that won't feel good for all of us, for our necks. So if it doesn't feel good, just skip that and stay with the half circle instead. If you do take a full circle, make sure you even out by going back the other way. Wherever you are, let's take one last breath. And slowly draw your head back up to center. And just close your eyes a moment if that's okay for you. And just notice the extra space between your ears and your shoulders. And start to release your right fingertips to the ground on the right side and take a big inhale. Sweep your left arm all the way up overhead. You can stay right here, or you can reach that hand further over towards the right. Maybe you want to roll out your wrist. Maybe you want to look up and down gently. Any options that I offer you can take or leave as needed. I like to rest the weight of my head in my hand and bend my elbow. Something else that might be nice for you is circling the entire arm. And we're just going to switch sides. So bring that left hand down and inhale your right arm all the way up. You can stay here or start to layer on some additional movement if that feels good. Maybe rolling the wrist. Maybe reaching a little bit more to the left side. Maybe bending your elbow. Try not to let your hip come off the ground and move with you. See if you can stay firm in your seat. And inhale, let's reach both arms all the way up this time. Look up, bring your palms to touch. Exhale, bring your hands down through your heart center and all the way to the ground in front of you, and start to walk your hands away from you. So again, keep your seat down on the ground. So if you're here and your seat starts to lift up and come forward, just stay here, sit back in your seat. If you can keep your seat where it is, you can continue to walk forward. Maybe you want to walk all the way down until your forehead reaches the ground. Or this would be a really good time to grab your pillow or your block and rest your head there instead for some extra support. Let your back just naturally round here and let yourself be heavy towards the ground. Start to slowly roll up, keep that nice rounding in your spine, walk your hands all the way in and then behind you. If it hurts your wrists to have your fingers pointing forward, you can point them out and just start to open up across your chest, maybe gaze up. Start to cow your back, so stick your tailbone out. Maybe you even want to lift your hips up a little bit here to feel a little bit more of a stretch across the front of your hips. And then let's lower that down and switch the crossing of the legs. Make sure you're sitting evenly again. And take a big inhale, reach both arms all the way up overhead. Exhale, bring your right hand behind you, your left hand to your right knee for a twist. With your inhale, you sit a little bit taller. Your exhale, maybe you twist a little bit more without forcing anything. Staying in your twist, just slowly pivot your face back to the front. And then slowly pivot your face all the way back as far as you can look over your right shoulder. Keeping your left hand where it is, swing your right arm all the way around to the opposite knee and gently round here, maybe rock side to side, let your head hang heavy. Healing up, release your hands, but keep your elbows crossed, and let's go into a half garudasana, eagle arms. You can kind of just hold still, working on finding right angles, or you can move it around a little bit if that feels better for you. Let's take one more full breath. With the inhale, unwrap your arms, draw your shoulder blades together behind you, broaden across your chest. Keep that and exhale your hands behind you to interlace all 10 fingers and take a nice big chest expansion here. So take this in whatever way feels good for you, either with or without movement. Nice variation is bringing your hands to one side and then also tilting your head over to that same side for a deeper shoulder stretch. And if you do that, you're going to, of course, want to do the other side as well, moving through center first and over to the opposite side. If you're doing this and your elbow kind of goes out to the side, just bring it back. When you're ready, you're going to take a big inhale to release your arms all the way back up, and let's go into the supine twist. Other way. Sorry, not supine twist, spinal twist. We're not supine, we're sitting. So your hips are still facing the front and you're just twisting from your center towards the back. Just like the first side, keep this twist and just slowly look towards the front. And then slowly look towards the back. Keep your right hand where it is and swing your left arm across this time. Really let yourself round and roll around, side to side, forward and back, whatever feels nice for you here. Imagine your shoulder blades pulling apart from one another, away from your spine. And keeping your elbows crossed, just release your hands up until your wrists can also wrap for your half eagle arms. Again, maybe you just hold it still, or perhaps you'd rather move it around and see how that feels. But choose one of those two options intentionally. With your next inhale, unwrap it all. Draw your shoulder blades together behind you. This time interlace your opposite set of fingers and thumb on top and take another big chest expansion with whatever stillness or movement feels right for you today here. If you have room, you can draw your palms all the way together to touch and maybe straighten out your arms all the way. If you don't quite have room for this, it's okay to let your palms open up a little bit and maybe your elbows bend a little bit. That's fine too. Just go where you are for today. And this time, when you are ready to come out of this, release your hands forward. Let's crawl all the way forward like we did on the first side. You can rest your forehead on a pillow, blanket, or block again. Try to keep your sit bones down on the ground. This is sort of like a child's pose in the top half of your body, with Sukhasana, easy seat, in the bottom half of your body. You're ready to come up. Start with an inhale, walk your hands all the way up, roll up, walk your hands all the way back. And again, open across the front, press into your palms, stretch your wrists, your shoulders, maybe even lift your hips if that feels nice. Only if it feels good, drop your head back. And with a gentle exhale, come back to your seat. Let's just take a breath here. And we'll roll forward over the legs, setting up for a child's pose, an extended child's pose. So bring your knees nice and wide, big toes to touch, sit back, Let your hips be nice and heavy on the ground, on your heels. We take a little sway side to side and start to ease your forehead down to the ground as well. If you want to start with a little bit of a deeper stretch for your shoulders, you can come up onto your fingertips for a moment and keep pressing your chest down towards the ground. Maybe reach your fingertips further forward. And when you're ready, just relax that, release it completely, and get into a less intense stretch here to hold for a moment. Breathing deeply through your nose. Just let your whole body go heavy towards the ground. Stay here for another couple breaths, or if you'd like to, bring your palms to touch, bend your elbows, and bring your thumb knuckles towards the back of your neck. If you bent your elbows, straighten them back out, and slightly lift your head off the ground so that you can walk both hands over to the right side. Put your right hand on top of your left hand, and either put your forehead back down on the ground, or you can put the side of your face, the left side, on the ground if that's more comfortable for you to get off your forehead for a couple breaths. Feel free to pause the video at any time if you want to stay longer in a pose. When you're ready, we'll walk the hands, lift the head just enough to walk the hands over to the left. And place your left hand on top of your right hand. Place either the right temple or the forehead on the ground. And when you're ready, walk your hands back to center. Take a couple breaths here to settle back in the middle. When you're ready, lift up just enough that you can slide your left arm under your right armpit. So your left palm is up And you're just going to ease back down towards the ground. So you're not twisting open. You're staying closed towards the ground. So your chest is moving towards the ground. And for me, this stretch means that I can't get my forehead back to the ground. So what I like to do is make a fist with my right hand and just rest my forehead on the fist. You can also grab your block or your pillow or your blanket if that's more comfortable for you. And that way you can keep your right arm forward. So just take a moment to set up in a way that works well for you. And you don't want to put too much weight and pressure on that left arm and shoulder. So that's another reason to maybe keep your head slightly off the ground and maybe even a little tiny bit of activation in your hips so that you're controlling the amount of sensation in your left arm and shoulder there. Not too little and not too much. We'll slowly come up just enough to switch sides. It's okay if one side feels a little bit more or less amenable to this shape than the other. Most of us aren't ambidextrous, so our sides, especially in the arms and shoulders, might be a bit uneven based on what we're doing in life outside of yoga. And when you're ready to come out, if you were using a block or a pillow or anything, release that. And just come up enough to bring your legs all the way together. And we're going to go back into an embryo pose, which is a variation of child's pose, where your legs, your knees, your ankles, your toes, all of that is all together. Your arms are back. The top of your forehead is on the ground. And everything rounds really easily over the legs. Let your arms especially be quite heavy. If this is a little bit too much for you, you can lift your hips and slide a blanket or a pillow in between your seat and your heels. When you're ready with an inhale, come on up to a tabletop. So you're going to want to adjust your knees to about hips width distance apart. And before we do anything else, just take some free movement here that's comfortable. So maybe that means going forward and back, or side to side, or even taking some hip or shoulder or neck circles. Just take a couple deep, smooth breaths. And let those breaths guide whatever free movement you decide to take here. And we'll meet in some cat-cows. So for your inhale, your tailbone goes up, your belly goes down, your chin goes up. This is cow. And then reverse all of that on the exhale for cat, rounding your back. Tucking your tailbone and your chin, pressing a lot into your hands. Again, inhale, chest forward, belly down, gaze up. And exhale to reverse. As you inhale, you draw your shoulder blades together along your spine. As you exhale, you draw them apart, away from your spine as you round. Let's do it one more time. Just come back to a nice flat back, and if you can, maybe take a look at yourself in the camera or the mirror or whatever you have, and get your wrists right under your shoulders and your knees right under your hips if they aren't there yet. And really engage your core, so pull your belly in a little bit, make sure your back is nice and flat, and just push the ground away slightly. We're going to take some shoulder rolls here, so try to keep everything the same. And just like the shoulder rolls we did at the beginning of class sitting down, just start to roll your shoulders. Directions are not so helpful here in terms of up and down, forward and back, since we're in a different position, but just rolling your shoulders back. And then come back to just your regular tabletop position. And on your inhale, reach your right hand forward like you're going to give someone a handshake, so with your thumb up. And exhale, just put that hand back down. Inhale, reach your left hand forward the same way. And exhale, set that hand back down. Without shifting your weight too much to the left, inhale, reach your right leg back. And exhale, set that knee back down. Inhale, reach your left leg all the way back. And exhale, set that knee back down. Now inhale, reach your right leg back and your left arm forward. And exhale, set that back down. Just one more, the other side. Inhale, your left leg back, right arm forward, nice and long. And exhale, bring your right hand and your left knee back down to the ground. We're going to cross the ankles. Actually, I'm changing my mind here. Uncross your ankles. Send your left foot out to the left a bit and just step your right foot back. So I'm going to move a little bit so that I'm in the frame. You're going to want to get your left wrist still under the left shoulder like in tabletop. Left knee still under the left hip like in tabletop. You might need to adjust a little bit depending on the length of your torso. Reach your right arm up. Press the outer edge of your right foot into the ground. Really lift up out of that bottom shoulder. Reach up. This is a supported side plank pose. If it hurts your neck, look down at your left hand. If it feels okay to, look up at your right hand. And just take a couple breaths here. On an exhale, bring everything back down through tabletop and let's switch sides. So right foot swings out, left arm comes up, press through the outer edge of your left foot. Get your right wrist under your right shoulder and your right knee under your right hip. You can look down at your right hand if it is a little bit of a strain on your neck here, or you can look up at your left hand if that feels okay. Make sure you don't sink into your right shoulder. You're going to want to press into your right hand so that you're lifting up. You're pressing down into your right hand as you lift up into your left fingertips. Let everything kind of move back down to the ground on the exhale. And in your tabletop, if you want to take any last cat-cows or any other free movement, you can do that here. And this time we are going to cross our ankles so that we can roll back over the feet, send the legs out forward. This is where you're going to grab your bolster or your blocks, blankets, pillows, whatever you've got. I'm going to use this bolster, and you're going to send your legs out long. You might want to also put something under your knees if you have it. For instance, I have a blanket here, not a yoga blanket, that's okay. I'm just going to kind of bunch it up and put it under my knees. Might be nice to have something a little higher if you have another bolster. And then I'm going to grab this. You can also use a pillow. I'm going to put the end of it right here in the hip crease. So right between my belly and my legs. And then I'm just going to fold forward. And I actually need a little bit more support. So I'm going to grab a block as well. You could grab a second pillow. You just want to let everything round forward. So you don't want to go to your full range of motion, your full flexibility. You just want to go to about 50 to 70%. So if we were doing an active stretch, I could, maybe fold farther all the way down here, but that's not what we're doing. So don't worry about how it looks. It should be how it feels. Does this feel about 50% of your capability? You might need to have it higher. That's fine. Just go where it feels just about right for you, for your body. We're going to hold it here. So make sure it's a spot that really is only 50 to 70%, and you can hold it here for a couple minutes, breathing easily. Let everything round, leaning forward. Your palms can face up or down, but just choose one of those options on purpose. If your mind starts to wander when we hold these longer poses, just anytime that you notice that your mind has wandered to some thought or replaying something that happened or thinking about what's going to happen next, without scolding yourself, just bring your mind back into your body, back to focusing on the breath and sensations that come up. Last couple breaths in this shape. Whenever you come out of a yin, a longer hold, you want to go really slowly and intentionally. So make sure that you're paying attention to your body and your breath, and then slowly start to come out of it. No need to rush anything. You can gently move your props off of your legs and out from under your legs. I'm going to explain our next shape a couple times because I want to give you different options depending on what props you have available. If you're using just a kind of smaller square pillow, you can use it kind of in the same way that you would use a block. So I'll explain it first for if you're using a block or a pillow. You're going to lower the block onto the lowest setting, the long way, or you're just going to put your pillow, not both. I'll show you with the block. You're going to lay the block right under the back of your rib cage. So about from right below the top of your shoulders to bottom of your rib cage. You should kind of be able to feel it here. Just going to lower over that and let your head rest on the ground, your palms face up. For all of these variations, you can have your palms up with your arms down by your sides for the least amount of a stretch. Or you can start to move your arms higher up towards a T position or a goalpost position for a little bit more intensity. So you'll have to try this out and see what feels good for you and your body. And for your leg variation, if you want to just focus on the upper body, walk your feet a little wider and put your knees together to touch. So it's a nice resting shape for your hips and legs. If you prefer to add a hip opener here, you can do the opposite. Open your knees and bring the soles of your feet to touch. And if this is too much to be comfortable for a long hold, maybe skip this today and just have your knees together. So if you have just one smaller square pillow, same thing as with the block. You're going to get it right behind your rib cage so that your head is on the ground and your hips are on the ground, just like this. If you have a bolster and a block, what you can do is a little bit different. You can put the block on the low setting, but the short way here. Think of it as for your head, but then you're going to put the bolster there on top of it. So your head is going to go at the top and your hips are going to sit on the ground right here, right at the base of the bolster. I'm just going to lay. Again, depending on how your body feels, you can adjust your arms to get as much of an opening or more of a relaxing shape depending on your preference. Once you've found your arrangement with your props and your body on top of them, let your body completely surrender to the support of the floor coming up to meet your body and the props supporting your body. And this is completely effortless, so gravity is doing all the work here for us. Soften your jaw and your eyebrows, your ears, your eyelids. It's natural for thoughts to arise when we pause. So if that happens to you, rather than scolding yourself or becoming frustrated, just notice that it's happening and intentionally bring your awareness back instead to your body and to your breathing. Perhaps there's a spot in your body that's a little bit tense or holding on to effort. See if you can direct your attention to that spot. See if you can have it release or relax a little bit more. When you're ready to slowly come out of this shape, you can do so by rocking all the way to one side to roll off of whatever props that you're on. And move your block, blanket, or bolster or pillow over to one side, actually to your left side, so the other side. And lay down all the way onto your back. Hug your knees into your chest, and keeping your low back on the ground, take a gentle rock side to side. If you can, hug your arms all the way across your legs, maybe even reach for opposite elbows and pull your legs in a little bit tighter. If you would like to, you can take a gentle happy baby here. It's up to you. And then we're going to just keep the right leg in and send the left leg out long onto the floor. So your pillow or blanket or block or bolster should be here about hip height on your left side. And you're just going to scoot your hips a little bit further over to the right without moving your shoulders. And hug that right leg in, give it a gentle squeeze and rock. And then draw it all the way over to rest on the bolster, block, or pillow on the left. So don't worry too much about this leg. It's a nice outer hip stretch, but what we're focusing on more is keeping both shoulders down on the ground. So extend your arms. Gently turn your gaze over to the right, but without too much effort. So without straining. And if it doesn't feel like both shoulders are on the ground, you can gently lift your chest and adjust so that it feels like both shoulder blades are on the ground. If that's not possible with the way that your leg is, you can keep it up a little bit more. And if it's comfortable to you, close your eyes and just take a couple breaths here. There should be no effort, just gravity, holding your body in place. Slowly at the same time, turn your Face back to center and bring your right leg back and both knees in and scoot your hips a little bit over to the left. Grab your prop and put it over on the right side, just about at hip height. And send your right leg out long. Hug your left knee into your chest. Give it a gentle squeeze and a rock. When you're ready, draw that left knee over to the right side to rest on your prop. And you might need to lift your chest just a little bit to get both shoulder blades down on the ground. Let your gaze fall gently to the left. And extend both arms nice and long. Let everything sink completely heavy. Relax wherever you can. You feel like you've been here for about the same amount of time to balance out the first side. You can slowly lift your knee and your head, coming back to center. And bend both knees. Reach both arms up overhead. Walk your feet out as wide as the mat and just gently rock both knees to the right and then both knees to the left a couple times. And then you can hug both knees in one more time. Give them a gentle squeeze. And if there's anything you need to do before Shavasana, you can do that now. Otherwise, start to set up for your Shavasana or your final seated meditation if that's more comfortable for you. So however you like to do your Shavasana, you can just set that up now. I'm going to use a blanket just for a little bit more comfort. If you run hot, maybe don't do this, but if you run a little cold, maybe you want a blanket. You can put one hand on your belly and one hand on your heart, or you can have your arms just down by your sides or up overhead, really whatever's comfortable for you. And just when you're ready, settling in, so get any of those fidgets out of the way right away. If there's any clothing that's bunching up or anything that doesn't feel quite right, just adjust it now. Relax your jaw. Release control of your breath. For the next few moments, there's no more doing, just being, just relaxing completely. you'd like to stay in your Shavasana for longer, you're more than welcome to. Stay for as long as you'd like. If you feel ready to start to continue on, just start by gently wiggling out your fingers and your toes, your jaw. Maybe rock your head side to side a few times. If you'd like, you can take a full body stretch with your inhale, reaching long. And then exhale, bend your knees, place your feet on the ground, or hug your knees into your chest one more time. You can roll over to one side. Just pause in a nice little fetal pose for a moment. Again, you're welcome to stay here for as long as you'd like. When you're ready to finish up your practice, you can press up. Just gently move any props out of your way so that you can come to a nice, comfortable seated position, just like how we began today. And close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. Relax your face. Draw your shoulders down away from your ears and rest your hands gently somewhere on your legs or your knees. Gently move your head and neck in any way you need. Maybe roll your shoulders one last time. Just land in a nice, relaxed but alert Sukhasana, easy seat. If you haven't yet, start to deepen your breath one more time. When your next inhale begins, sweep your arms in a nice big circle all the way up to the ceiling. Palms touch at the top, and wait for the exhale. Use it to bring the hands all the way down through center. Do that twice more with your breath, so inhaling to reach wide. And then high, palms touch. Wait for the exhale. Just let your hands effortlessly move down through center. Wait for the inhale to reach all the way back up. Palms touch, exhale. This time, bring your thumb knuckles to rest right over your heartbeat. One last inhale, all together. Draw your thumb knuckles up to your forehead. And exhale, take a bow, big or small, to signify the end of the practice for today. Thank you so much for practicing with me. Yin Yang Yoga for your shoulders. Please leave a comment to let me know how you feel. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. You can also comment and let me know what other classes or yoga videos you'd like to see from me. Please make sure that after this practice you drink at least one, if not a few glasses of water slowly throughout the rest of your day. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll talk to you again soon.